Sometimes you just gotta shake your head when you hear the meme king, the stream king, bomb king voiceover. It's just, that has, okay, I don't know for a fact, but that has F dot literally written all over it. It is F dot. Oh my God. This is
I thought it was as well. It sounded like him.
yeah, so it's just, he must have been, oh dear Lord, his head must be like ginormous right now after having a voiceover. Anyway, I don't have a voiceover. We got to work on that. So welcome everyone to the Paladins World Championship as we get ready for our next matchup here. Exciting stuff ahead. I'm Golden Boy, joined by Bees and my partner in crime, Gormizer, as we get ready to break down this next matchup. It's going to be China Dream facing off against Brazil's Last Hope, SpaceStation Gaming. Like that team, like that name, by the way. It's a good name.
I love the name.
You know, it's like, I wonder, you know, where it came from. I have to ask the owner eventually.
I don't know, but I really do. I also appreciate their logo. You can kind of see it right there. It looks, has kind of like a controller feel in the actual like astronaut helmet. It was one of the ones when I first saw that org. I enjoyed it.
Good job, you know? Good job. You know what else is a good job? The groupie schedule. Let's take a look at that. I don't know what that segue was, but it was a segue, so we're just going to have to live with it. So, Fnatic did manage to get that 3-0 sweep over Entity. Now, they will await the winner of this game, SpaceStation versus China Dream. But coming up later on, I believe we are going to have G2 Esports and Na'Vi face off. I believe that's going on today. I got to look at my show flow here, but I believe that's happening. Matchup. And yes, I am pumped for that game as well. All these matches at this point are going to be incredible. But we might as well move on and talk about first team here, which is SpaceStation Gaming. As I mentioned before, the hope of Brazil on their shoulders. A lot of pressure here, but this team has really shown up and proven to us, Bees, that they are a team to compete.
I mean, when we watched them against Fnatic, they were absolutely phenomenal. They took it to literally as close as you can take it into a set with the 3-3 99-point capture. They've not actually yet in international play made out of the group stages, so I think it'd be very nice to see that coming out of them, guys. And they've got a few legends on the team, man. I want to see them really shine as they can do that, and I know they can do.
Yeah, this is a fantastic team. Your thoughts, Court?
I mean, it really kind of baffled me because remember looking at the roster and seeing they had a sub coming through. It was the frzgod. And I was kind of like, well, I don't know much about this guy. I've heard a lot about Mittow. I've heard a lot about RECHAO. He was playing so well the other day against Fnatic. And that was the showing that kind of like, it was Fnatic. We've seen how well Fnatic can play these last couple of days. And we know that they are definitely not a team to be scoffed at. So knowing that they were able to have that kind of performance against them really helps them look forward, and I think that they have a good chance here, potentially of going up into a rematch against Fnatic.
I hope so. frzgod himself is actually known to be responsible for Willow nerfs. Just off his play on Willow alone, Hi-Rez had to nerf the champion. So I think that's a pretty good accolade to have a team name.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See this guy just tearing it up in Brazil, and you're just like, all right, well, we got to go ahead and get rid of this here as quickly as we can. That's commendable. That is commendable. But their opponents, China Dream. This team came into this event with a lot of hype. They said that this was the Dream Team, a mixture of two squads that had qualified for this event, JC and QG. Unfortunate for them, visa issues kind of held things back, as you see there, the players wearing their jerseys. And based off of the game yesterday with Na'Vi, I am a little disappointed, but they're not out of it yet.
There were a couple things, there were a lot of bright moments yesterday. They're like shining, excellent spots. But the overarching game just did not work out for them. I'm wondering if, because it was pretty late yesterday, I'd say. Like we had been here for quite a while. And I think the players had been around for a little while as well, because I could remember seeing them kind of sitting around through the crowd. I'm wondering if today they're going to come in maybe a little bit more well-rested, ready to play, a little bit stronger. Because with the double elimination, that wasn't everything on the line. You're still set up that it's like we can afford at least one loss.
Hey, let's just hope that we get some Poppy Strix. That's all we want. Those were some amazing shots. But let's take a look at the bands, the map bands here. And we have China Dream getting rid of Timber Mill and SpaceStation Gaming getting rid of Splitstone Quarry. Those are thoughts on those bands coming out there.
Both of those, specifically for Timber Mill, it's actually kind of interesting. After seeing how well Poppy played the Strix, taking a map that a sniper would be really, really well played on, I think it's actually another thing that kind of came through that yesterday. They seemed to want to run very specific compositions. They had one plan that really seemed to work out for the first two that they were going for, and then they started to change it up. So I'm wondering if this is another kind of case, maybe a weak point where they don't have enough strategies for all of the maps.
Potentially. I mean, I'd like to think that they haven't come with the same mentality as Valencia, where they kind of had one strat. Once it got taken away from them, they didn't really perform as well. So it would be nice to see if maybe yesterday they were just kind of testing the waters, seeing what is going to work for them, and maybe today we might see some really cool strategies coming out from them guys.
And you saw it on your screen there. Jaguar Falls will be our first map here in this best of 5. Winner will move on against Fnatic. But it's time, folks. I hope everyone in the crowd's excited because we're going to have ourselves a great matchup here. It's going to be China Dream facing off against SpaceStation Gaming, the hope of Brazil and the hope of China, battling it out here on the world stage. And it's time for the Champions Draft. Let's see what Dream is going to go with.
There's a lot. I actually think they played here yesterday, and I think that their draft, the way they were drafting for China Dream, if they can get what they want, they could potentially play this the way they would want. Like the way their draft was flexing yesterday, this would be a good map for them to potentially try and push onto that. But it's also very difficult to get the lineup they wanted, especially because a lot of these teams have similar mentalities for that lineup. And it was one of the things we saw yesterday. Na'Vi, we were looking at it, and Meta Pusher goes, they just took that pick away. That was one thing that kind of came through, was the Zen pick. They were trying to fit that in, and it just didn't work out for them there.
I think it's interesting to see as well, see the Mittow pick come through. We've seen China Dream yesterday really not take Mittow, I think, as seriously as the EU and NA teams would do normally. We've seen the Mittow get played quite a lot yesterday for them, and it ends up being SpaceStation that ends up banning them out instead.
Really, no one wants to deal with Mittow here, right? No one wants to deal with a champion that is so disruptive with that dredge anchor. It's just not worthwhile.
Especially, I think it's on Jaguar Falls that it can be probably some of the most dangerous, just because of where he can pull you. You're more often going to get pulled right into the rest of the team. Like, you're going to get put in a position where they can all see you. You're going to get melted, and that is, for an early fight, a great way to start off. Turn it into a 4v5, eliminate someone. If you get their tank that early, it's even better. Having the Nando on the other side does make it a little bit difficult, but you could have run that.
And the Torvald in Talus pick here. Torvald for that added protection. Talus has been played quite a bit. And we got a Drogos on the other side for SpaceStation Gaming.
Interesting to see the Drogos. They've still got 2 picks left in China Dream, so I don't know if they'll try and pick up a decent hit scan now to try and counteract the Drogos. So far, both drafts are looking quite good.
It doesn't happen often, but there's still, like, if you need a sniper and you know that you can play a sniper really well, this is a map you can make it work. It's not going to be the best for you, and if you start off on the wrong foot, it goes downhill fast. But I think I prefer the Zen going towards. I've heard a lot about the Chinese players and their Zen play, and I've seen what Dream can do with it. As long as they can set it up.
What's going to deal with the Drogos in the sky, though, for you?
This is the issue now. The Drogos actually plays very mobile in the air. They're not going to have, I think, enough damage to shut him down, which is very difficult in this map because this map's very compact around the point. So a combustible from Drogos does a lot of damage and really helps your team out to really clear off the tanks from the point, giving you a lot of point objective time.
And now with the Andro on the other side as well, like, it's just difficult to try and figure out who you want to focus for, because both of them are going to be up in the sky. Androxus, he's not going to be flying as much, but he's still going to be able to dash up there and make it a little bit harder for you to try and find anything to bring him back down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, based off of this, real quick, predictions, who do you think is going to take this?
I'm giving this one to SpaceStation for me personally.
Okay. What about
this game? The draft is just better from SpaceStation, I think.
All right. Well, we'll see how this all works out. Will SpaceStation Gaming move on and keep the drive alive for Brazil, or will it be China who keeps things going for their region? Let's send it over to your casters as they get ready for their doubleheader. It's Rain Day and Shift.
Thank you, Alex, and it's time to see what will happen between these two teams. It's not an unprecedented matchup, Alan. In fact, these two kind of regions faced off against each other last year at HRX, Brazil versus China. China took the better end of that one. Brazil obviously winless at an international land, hoping to see if they can get that big one here, and I think this may be their chance.
Yeah, different representatives from last HRX to this HRX for both regions as you look forward to it now. So as we get into Jaguar Falls, again, I have to agree with the desk. SpaceStation's draft looks great. The Drogos, we haven't seen them play it yet. They also have the Andro, which can help on the flank. China Dream, again, they struggled yesterday a lot more than I think we expected. This needs to be a strong start from this Talus-Sin combo.
Well, looking at it, Ares, he's the one for me that stands as an awareness, but Demolition Bomb King from Guagua. Are you kidding me? Fusillade from frzgod. Heads will roll for Ares, getting the extra bonus damage on those headshots and the extra ammo as well. UFO throws the flame sword, just peeking, prodding, poking, goes immediately into the billow, and that looks like Smolder for him.
And China Dream is actually using UFO as kind of a distraction as everyone looks from the right side, but again, SpaceStation's right on point. They're happy to be there with Fernando or Nara, and again, that demolition seems strange. All it is the Fernando shield. Doesn't take down into Nara wall, so interesting to see how Guagua plays. It is UFO finding first blood that is on frzgod.
And that's important right there, as you see UFO gets that first blood and things already shifting towards the way of China Dream. Can they keep their dreams alive after losing to Na'Vi yesterday? 48% and counting for SpaceStation Gaming, though, and that's going to finally put the Inara down. But UFO and Kami find a couple, and now UFO finds two on the Zen. UFO may just find one more popping out of the smolder. Can Ares escape? No! He looks like he's going to get cut down by Guagua right there.
But he does trade his life out, which will provide some kind of a stagger so that damage is not there for this potential retake. But again, look how aggressive UFO is. He's happy to stay up front. He's got a Torvald right next to him. He's able to find the Inara as well, so a great dismount.
Oh, and he's already half health. He's used all of his cooldowns right here. He probably only has the Earthen Guard, and he's going to use that in about 3 seconds. This Inara is very, very susceptible. Mittow throws the shield up, though, to try and block it, but he gets stunned out, and that's what Demolition does. An extra 30% in terms of the stun radius. Kami, Poppy, all popping off, and China Dream looked like they are going to take the first objective here against SpaceStation Gaming.
Yeah, SpaceStation just needs to be aware. I thought for sure that Mittow's going to be able to get around the corner from that Grumpy Bomb, but apparently not so much, as now you see this spread happening offensively. This is good aggression from China, able to find a left to right spread. Inara's going right in, though. If they have damage fall, this could be really dangerous for Guagua.
And watch this Demolition. It's going to get a stun there. Gets the stun, drops the shield from Fernando. He doesn't have that cooldown now, and that's important heading into it. King Bomb lined up for Guagua. Double kill for him, running this very, very odd choice of Legendary on Bomb King. But boy, oh boy, is it working so far on Jaguar Falls.
Yeah, and looking solid compared to yesterday. He really struggled a lot. Specifically, we saw him play Xin not quite to the same level that I think he needed to go. This solo Torvald coming out as a front line is the big standout for me. Able to sustain himself with the recharge for that shield, but beyond that, really relying on his teammates to give him some space, and here comes a Dread Serpent to do just that.
That's good creation of time, but frzgod freezes Kami's hopes right there, pops him back, and now China Dream losing with one frontliner, and SpaceStation Gaming without Ares. It's a 4v4, but maybe China Dream looking to back off here. Prodding still from Poppy on the Talus, but a great shot from frzgod will send him back to base and kind of cement the defense for SpaceStation.
I was just about to compliment China Dream on their patience for a second, because yesterday was a lot of really bad overextensions and pushes, and right there everyone was backing up, but Poppy must have seen something that he thought he can convert a 1v1. He pays for the price there, and a minute and 7 seconds until overtime, and now SpaceStation have themselves a pretty solid defense set up, but again, they're still turtled up in their base.
This is the benefit of Fusillade as well. You see that one rocket, and it already sends a defensive ability and a defensive position into Poppy's mindset, Guagua's mindset on that Zen, and I love how they stayed with him there. And here's a seismic crash trying to stop it out. UFO will find Ares. He's been fantastic today, but so has frzgod, who slays Guagua there. But here's Poppy in the back line taking out the frontliner.
All through time and space, not able to find much. True Power coming out will actually help out for 2. So not quite double kill fashion, but Poppy does find 2 himself. Now tunneling back, but he's got frzgod right in front of him. A nice kill, but again, here's good peel and concentration. Mumo coming out to try to help out, does trade out the kill. Very big with 22 seconds left.
And Talus was forced to actually go back on that one. I think he wanted to stay behind RECHAO, and frzgod was waiting for him. But right now, UFO is just slicing and dicing through the members of SpaceStation Gaming like a hot knife through butter. China answer back emphatically.
I guess you could call Zin's sword a hot knife.
I guess you could.
He's
Flames.
the one going through there.
I wonder what temperature Kelvin that thing is.
I don't want to know. I'll let you touch first, and we'll, if you burn your finger off, I'll just be more patient.
Yeah, I think I'll just blow on that a couple times before I take a sip of the liquid fire there. Poppy, though, he's been the one who's really, I don't know what he's had to drink or to eat before this, but he has been a totally changed man. Not so much from yesterday in terms of being a standout for China Dream. I think he's continued to fulfill that role, but in terms of dominating the game, he was always second best, third best yesterday against Na'Vi. Clearly high performer here for China.
And we saw them again, like we mentioned. They pulled out a bunch of different variety. And again, Guagua was kind of flexing back and forth with Poppy. We didn't hear much from UFO.
Right.
He's the one who's really kind of come to shine. He's not playing the front line he was yesterday. He's got himself on a damage dealer, and that's a big stun coming through. UFO with the easy kill onto Ares.
And UFO just keeps winning this battle. It's just UFO over and over again who finds these kills. 16 streak for him. Gets a great touch on a Fernando, even though he's an immortal. Gets the elimination credits. Hits with the whirl. One more shot will do it. It's extremely efficient play from China Dream. This is not what we saw yesterday. And maybe that's a great sign for China, a bad sign for the other teams.
Yeah, for all of the other teams, if they make their way through here, they're doing very well so far, 51% counting up. They do have zone control as Guagua throws out a Poppy Bomb, and Grumpy Bomb kind of just get himself that extra mobility going through. Mittow will find a kill to Poppy, though, so that's big to start things off. But again, Genos falls, so no support here for SpaceStation.
Very important, but Inara, how long can she stand here? This Demolition Grumpy Bomb is going to knock all defensive options off the table, gets that stun. The radius is so wide, even stuns Ares, and that's the reason he gets both kills here. Guagua, with the unprecedented choice of that Demolition Legendary, is actually changing the battlefield, so to speak, for SpaceStation Gaming. I'm sure they have not played against that quite often.
I mean, I can't think of the last time we saw really anybody in the competitive scene start to use that when there's only one shield up.
Right.
I mean, Cuss had been talking a lot about how Demolition's a real option when there's multiple shields. It's just the Fernando Inara in the front line, so it's just really interesting to see it, but it's working so well.
To me, I consider it like a solo ult. Is it enough to solo ult to Fernando and get one kill? Maybe if you're a Pip, I think that's worth it. And if Demolition gets down one shield, that is their only shield. It may just be one shield, but that's their only one, and that's the important thing about it. And Cauterize blocking, not at all if that goes down quickly. 20 streak for UFO on the Zen. He's in the back line. They don't see him. Nice counter. He's going to whirl away. Almost gets out, but Mittow cleans him up.
That would have been really bad. A nice impasse wall here as well for SpaceStation. Able to help RECHAO find a kill on against Kami. And now Guagua falling low. Nice little mid-air Mending Spirits still coming out of Mumo, who had a really great day yesterday considering the outcome. He was playing well in support. Moving forward, 1:32 seconds, and China Dream kind of regrouping and trying to get themselves back together. Nara's a little overextended here and catches a couple of sticky bombs. Will be able to back up. So an option here possibly for China to push in that aggression.
Looking for a big stun here. You can see Mumo's. Looks like he's got some deft hands, or he's got some reload speed in the deck, because this definitely is a very fast one. Oh, goes for the true power. He actually chooses Dhiren at the very end. Nice splits upper. Can he connect? That's the kill. Goes back to the Rune of Travel location, and Poppy is on a roll. That's 5v4. Soon it'll be 5v3. They grab the Inara. China Dream looking to keep the snowball going. Ares goes back to base. UFO trying to find this last one. Billows away, and this is surely going to be at least a very close contest for China Dream to push this through and maybe have their first win.
Time Space fits under the smite from long range. Hits that crowd control in with the Dread Serpent. That's China Dream coming back with a Fury. 4-0.
And that is the China Dream kept alive right there. If anything needed to happen to give confidence or a bit of resurgence back to China, it was a performance like that in their first game of potentially many as they face off in this loser's bracket. SpaceStation Gaming having a couple of words with the admins, and Ares doesn't look comfortable. He didn't look comfortable in the game as well. Just never won a battle against UFO, and that Zen and Droxus matchup, it's an interesting one.
It really is, because both of them have the ability to throw damage back at you. So those fights, those 1v1 duels can really kind of go a long time. Both of them have really good mobility as well when it comes to dueling. So it's really interesting to see. But again, the Zen ruled the day here. Ares not really having much impact whatsoever.
No. And I think the thing is they've got so much from UFO that they didn't have yesterday. I mean, remember, he was playing support so much of the time, and he said a lot of options just weren't on the table. We had Poppy showing up. We had Guagua here and there. He was playing the Zen, but now UFO gets on it, and it's just this tertiary threat that was not a part of, I think, SpaceStation Gaming's plan heading into this set.
Yeah, it's hard to plan against it, too. I mean, especially when you're considering who they had to play up against. You know, I think SpaceStation got a really good look internally at themselves, and they played up against Fnatic in day one, and now with another test here to try to keep your HRX dreams alive and surprise people not only here, but of course at home, as the Brazilian region is probably one of the more passionate when it comes to this game in particular. They're very active, but again, you look at the stat line, he only dies a single time, and that's just the annoyance of going up against the Zen. He's got so much utility in his kit to keep him alive between the counter and, of course, the Billow as well, and it's just hard to deal with when you have someone who can just get in, get right back out for essentially nothing.
And again, the Demolition Bomb King brought it up.
Yeah.
This is something to talk about, because at the end of the day, this is what China does in these tournaments. They bring something new to the meta that no one's really seen or prepared against, and then it becomes a ticking time bomb of, can you adapt fast enough? SpaceStation Gaming have not been battle tested in terms of their adaptation. We saw them take the first game off of Fnatic yesterday, but they weren't able to adapt to what Fnatic brought out in return with the Cat Burglar Maeve. I wonder if they will be able to adapt to this Demolition Bomb King if they do allow it on the table and they go for it again.
Here's the other thing. Na'Vi banned Bomb King against China Dream every single game
That's
yesterday.
true.
So,
that's true.
And I think that's just, props up to Navi for doing their homework, because Guagua was very, 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 very good at playing Bomb King back in Valencia. You know you're going to have to see it at some point again. Bomb King's still one of the strongest champs in the game. That's just, again, you see now the potential of what Guagua can do when he gets a pick that he's obviously very comfortable with. If you're SpaceStation, it sucks because you have to pick between Buck, Makoa, and Bomb King to ban out. In that situation, I think if you sub out the Makoa for the Bomb King, you might be looking at a different game, because Guagua controlled so much of that space.
And that's the thing. Do they have that threatening Makoa-style play? Do they have that threatening Buck-style play? We've seen that at DreamHack Valencia a few months ago in Spain, but we haven't seen that this tournament. And so if they are going to get the Bomb King ban, I think if I'm China Dream, I have to prepare that Bomb King in later rounds will be banned against me. And what am I going to do in response? I think it's partly leave open the Buck, leave open the Makoa, and force either Navi to ban those, and then leave the Bomb King open for you, or say we'll play those, and you can keep your Bomb King banned all you want.
And it's interesting because looking back to, again, yesterday, on the flip side, China Dream banned out Buck in three of the 4 games. In the 4th game, they didn't play it. On the flip side, though, Makoa being there, that was part of one game that they did win. Right. So it's going to be interesting. I think that, if SpaceStation has that information, if they have that knowledge, they really need to adjust, I think, just their bans in specific. The picks kind of can go whatever way you want. But on Serpent Beach, I think you really need to focus those bans and what has been happening over the last 48 hours.
And what I like, too, is about Bomb King and the way Zen, Bomb King, and Talus all work together on those small maps like Bright Marsh and Jaguar Falls, is they all help each other's win conditions increase. Because Zen by himself as a solo damage dealer is sometimes unimpressive. He can't do everything. He's single target, and yes, he can be distracting, but if you need somebody to die fast, sometimes Zen isn't your man for that. But because you have to pay attention to Bomb King, can't take your eyes off of him, what Zen wants is a little bit of time, a little bit of space. Eyes averted to the left side when he's coming from the right. It's same as Talus.
Yeah, same as Talus, almost exactly. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's really come to fruition over the last couple of events that we've seen him really start to climb that viability ladder more and more, one rung at a time. SpaceStation, again, here will have the control when it comes to picking and banning. So, okay, Torvald coming away. This is more of one of those strats that this is actually, I really like this too, because if you don't want to ban the Buck, ban the Torvald away, and it makes Buck that much weaker.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing is, do you go with the Buck or the Bomb King? It looks like it will be the Buck choice.
And I think that's just more comfortable for SpaceStation Gaming, to be honest. I do believe that they're doing their best to kind of adjust outside of that Bomb King play. And right now, China Dream are probably getting their dream first couple of picks here. They may take the Genos. That's been super highly prioritized, and it will be. Serpent Beach, he's still very good. I mean, it's hard to pick a map where Genos isn't good.
Yeah, he's good everywhere. I mean, when you can heal through walls.
When you make something so inherently broken, it just survives no matter what.
Shout outs to the boy himself. No, I mean, this, I have a hard time understanding the logic, I think, between you ban the Torvald, you would think to dissuade the Buck, but instead of picking Bomb King, you pick Buck.
Right, which hurts your own ban. But, maybe this is to just say that they weren't wanting to go against that Torvald, because at the end of the day, if they don't ban that, say they ban the Makoa, switch it off, they have to be worried about maybe China Dream combining that Torvald available, even if they take first place Buck, with maybe a Zen. I mean, that's a very dangerous thing. A Talus who's been huge. And again, we're going to see return to the Cassie, which is the second time played in this entire tournament, and it has been played by China both times.
This is interesting because, again, Poppy had a really good showing on the Cassie in the loss that they had in game 1. But I think this will be a really interesting test when there's another big damage dealer there with him, and you figure Guagua's going to have the opportunity now to really kind of come to life on that Bomb King and open up the space for Poppy to be impactful on Cassie. Oh, they're going to actually pick up the Zen as well. So this is a lot of pressure from China Dream. This is a very opposite draft than what we saw them do yesterday.
I think SpaceStation Gaming are playing China Dream's game right now. The reason is they're going for the single frontliner, and that's what China Dream didn't have in terms of an advantage against Navi yesterday, who cleaned the house with them. They had 2 frontliners on Navi almost every single time, and Fernando by himself is not that kind of tank in this meta to really just sit on the point and contest against a Torvald, a Nanara, a Makoa Ruckus. Those types of combos hurt him. Even against Nanara, it's not favorable, but a 1v1 is much more doable in that situation. Gives them a lot more flexibility and an even matchup there on the objective. then going against 2.
Yeah, I just don't, man, I have a hard time, again, just putting in the rationalization for the Buck without Torvald. It just seems like, and you know, maybe it's just my ignorance in this instance, but you ban up the Torvald, it seems like you just want to try to keep the Buck off the table completely. And again, frzgod had a really good performance on BK yesterday. That was the game that they won. He was playing lights out. So I just don't know why you would give Guagua that pick back again, and then also let Zin still be there for free for UFO, who played him at the highest level we just saw last game. And then Cassie might just be that next influence to really set this China Dream squad off.
Taking some things off the table inevitably means that there will be room for others. And that's what they faced here. The Buck is played by Mittow, no Torvald, but that also means the Bomb King is available. The Impulse Cassie, an accelerant run by Guagua this time around. So stuns aplenty, just not the increased radius and the shield destruction, since there is no shield, but more of the increased detonation speed, down from 3 seconds to 1.5, as a fireball and an arrow both miss each other narrowly.
Yeah, and that withdrawal just a little questionable where that's headed, but it does actually hit an impiller wall onto Fernando, who is stuck in that little sewer side of things. He will back up. Poppy providing a little bit of distraction and a little bit of help to peel him back, but he's looking to get back towards the Zin as well. He's really low. No first blood as of yet, but there it comes. Kami does fall. frzgod chasing him down with the Worm Jets.
A lot of misses from Poppy right now.
Yeah.
It is a pretty jumbled game, but he needs to be a little bit more clinical, we would expect. If that Cassie pick is going to continue to have the presence, but this is very early game here. frzgod finds a rocket, and that's good for Ares, who finds one on the Shaolin, forcing the Billow from that Zen. It's going to put him in a defensive state. SpaceStation Gaming, the Brazilians, now in a decent advantage with 36% on the objective and about to slay Poppy.
This is going to be a slugfest game. Solo frontline for both teams, 3 damage dealers. If you are that Cassie, it is your responsibility to at least hit some of those shots, to be participating. Mittow's doing everything he's got to do. He does trade out his life, but it comes at the cost of 2 members from China Dream. Back onto point, though. frzgod with a big salvo. Ares able to clean up, and that's the player that needs to come back after that bad Andro game, is Ares on this Shaolin.
And I think Cassie needs to be the one, unfortunate as it is. She's got to be the one to poke him out. There it is, 316. Poppy, great shot. And now frzgod's going to have to put those deadly, deadly rockets, holster them just a little bit longer as the information comes out. That's the scout. They know where everyone is, and that's a through time in space from Mumo. Connects. Can Poppy do something here with this freedom?
They need to find the Inara. That needs to be the next target. And Poppy's looking for some backline pressure, and it's actually going pretty well for China Dream. 75%. Kami able to find frzgod, taking him down. Inara is not able to contest this point thanks to the fact that she's got no mobility in her kit. So China Dream might just be able to walk this one away
96,
because no one can contest.
99. It could be objective captured. Mittow hangs mid-air, but the bulk up Buck is able to survive just a second longer. Mumo out there on the healer, and Guagua again finding kills. And this is a bad, bad stagger happening now, because Guagua have 2 and all of SpaceStation Gaming are back to base, and that's a pause from Mittow.
There's got to be something happening on SpaceStation. I mean, as far as the communication goes, it just looks, again, it has like shades of what Fnatic was looking like the last couple of days, where we're just diving in, we're just going to slug people out, we're just going to go and throw left and right hooks all over the place with not really much control. When you have an Inara on a big map that has a huge boxing arena of a point, you need to be able to help her stay on point. And right now, we're just not really seeing a lot of that coming out of frzgod. Every now and again, we'll throw a salvo, but the rest of the help isn't really there.
And I think this was kind of a sloppy point fight for both teams, to be honest. It was
really
back and forth, a big skirmish. Yeah, that is the nature of the solo front line and the way that they're running these kind of duo flank, duo damage, and then one flank compositions. But I do think that there's an ability for either SpaceStation Gaming or China Dream, either one that wants to take advantage of it, to be a little bit more cohesive with their initial game plan, to get into an area and kind of commit to that area, as we saw Fnatic do in Serpent Beach. Theo kind of pressing that Shaolin very, very far back in that matchup we saw earlier. And I think if they can do that, that would put China Dream in a very uncomfortable spot. Because really what Na'Vi did that was so good yesterday was they were the aggressors always.
Yeah, that's a very big point. And now it's role reversal here, as China Dream has been nothing but green light throughout the first and so far this second map. And it's just interesting to see how much of a change came out. And it makes you kind of wonder, if China Dream were to have brought out this much aggression yesterday, would they have done any better? Because it was not a very great look for this all-star team from China now getting back into game. And again, the payload just recently getting converted on the point and now moving forward. 2 minutes they has to move, approaching that halfway mark.
Mittow doing a very good job, but this is a guy you'd likely find on Moldova rather than Buck. It's kind of an interesting switch up for him. The accelerant Gets a nice stun. Resilience will be dealing with that in the item category later on in the day. But right now, this game is only 3 minutes gone by. Great shot by Ares, though. He's the pickup that they're hoping is a big deal for them. Taking in from Key to Victory and from Apollo from the PGS, and now hoping that he can be one of their star players in this PWC.
And here's what's good to see from Ares. He's got his head in a swivel. He goes from left to right, finding targets and just putting shots in. He's not getting over aggressive. He's not focusing on a tunnel vision target, but unfortunately, Mittow and RECHAO both do fall apart. And now frzgod's getting aggressed on. This is good focus prioritization from the side of China Dream. They're able to take down the Drogos.
The burst is very strong from that impulse. And again, another thing people aren't used to playing against, let alone the legendary choice. It's Cassie, and They've pushed them so far back. China Dream are 2-0 up yet again. And the crowd's starting to get a little bit more excited here as we're getting those Valencia glimpses of maybe China having a little bit more up their sleeve, at least than was anticipated after yesterday's showing.
But look at this map awareness. He sees the Zen, takes one shot, and then goes back down to the Cassie, and then turns over to the right. And this is exactly what you want to see from Shaolin players, is not just focusing on one guy, because those arrows, if they do connect, will push somebody, usually if they're smart enough, will push them away. You don't have to worry about that second shot all the time, especially if they're peeking around corners. Just find the next target. Really good play from Ares. It's just not enough right now. And you look at Dhiren, who's trying to get himself back in here. He had to fill in kind of last second. He's playing the Maldamba, and you have to get him back in this game.
Mumo with the deft hands.
Yeah.
And that is something that gives you 20% extra reload speed. Not often seen on Genos just as a priority, but he does have quite a long reload. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Guagua here under pressure. Good flank by Ares and Mittow. Ares finds two. SpaceStation Gaming wanting to get back in a double kill. Huge play there coming from the Brazilians, and they take a commanding lead here on this play.
Look at this distraction from Zen. He's doing a good job of making sure people are actually paying attention to him instead of getting the dismounts where they need to be focusing. Three people are looking for this Zen. You're not going to find him. He's just buying time until you get a spot for them to come back, the rest of his teammates coming back around.
That is big, big stuff right here. SpaceStation Gaming grab it, and they don't even have a chance to spike this. Zen playing cat and mouse in the background. China Dream aren't fast enough to get back on the objective and contest, so it will be SpaceStation Gaming moving on back into this round. But remember, if they don't push this, it's going to be 3-1 because China Dream will get a defense point here if they hold strong.
And that's exactly what you're going to want to see. They're already setting it up very nicely. They got the first pick under RECHAO, so that frontliner being down will allow this China Dream team to go aggressive. The scout comes out for Cassie, looking for shots over on the right-hand side, prospectively for their perspective, and Mittow falling low is going to have to find a way out. Won't be able to do so. Poppy gets the kill.
That's a nice adjustment there. Poppy on the Cassie, I think doing something that, I'm not going to lie, I think the likes of Fnatic, Na'Vi, NIP, all these guys would be scared to try. I don't think anyone would feel confident bringing Cassie into this meta, and nice shot by Mumo there with the through time in space, claiming a single victory. But of course they are on the defensive end, so that's not too important here. However, it is important to note the payload has not moved at all. frzgod says, I don't like that. And he goes into the ultimate. He's probably going to call this one off because he can't find a target fast enough. At least retains 30% of that as he heads into the next play.
And we've seen a lot of Drogos players do that, where that they don't know they can get the kill, or if it's not needed, they'll just avoid it, come back later, use that and get it recharged back up. Although now, not looking so great as Ares and Mittow both fall down, so it's just the one damage dealer with the solo front line and support up for SpaceStation. It's going to, again, continue to stall out this payload push as they get sub 1 minute. They need to find a way to get an opening kill to get this payload some room to breathe.
Room to breathe is something I think both teams would like in this one. It's just fight after fight after fight. That's kind of the way these teams are designed. This meta from Brazil and from China has, both of them have failed against the Europeans. Na'Vi and Fnatic specifically, although it came very close to working against Fnatic. I just wonder if this is something that is working in this matchup, making a very tight contest, but it's not something that's sustainable heading into the next rounds.
Yeah, and if you're looking at SpaceStation, you can see the ultimates are starting to come online as, again, Poppy's able to take down Mittow.
Wow.
So, big upper stud. Guagua able to find that one. Surprised the Grumpy Mom connected with that.
I mean, that's accelerant for you. He thought he could get out, and against playing against that timing of demolition, those are the little things. You're used to playing against that Grumpy Bomb that's 3 seconds. Now it's a 1.5 seconds, and you don't have that timing quite fixed. I'm sure it will be ingrained into his memory now, though, as he goes down to Guagua, who finds 2 kills here. Looking to maybe find 3, but this is definitely going to be a strong defense from China Dream. They're 3-1 up. Have a chance to win game 2 right here.
Gets the last minute shot too just before the round ends.
They're spraying, man. Look at that smile.
It's looking much better for China Dream today, and it's plays like this. Look how often he's able to know the mobility, get the connections, get that nice big 1-2-3 shot, and then go to the next target. Able to push, he ends up going right in and getting aggressive against that non-slither holding Maldamba there as well. And if you take a look probably at the damage charts, you're going to see Guagua is likely near the top with plays like that.
I mean, Poppy, 9-5 on this Cassie. Ufo, the one who's not really having a great game, but you can't say he's not having an impact because Zen's presence, just being Zen, is an impact. You have to worry about him, and right now I'd be very curious to see what his plans are heading into this round. Of course, Guagua starts off accelerant under the point to ward away any frontliners. Where's Inara? You have to be asked your questions. He's on the catwalk to the left side. Guagua realizes it, pushes back, and now Ares hits a great shot on the Poppy. He's not going to find a kill. Good planted. That's not enough to burn down Fernando.
But it's enough to dissuade him from getting onto the point. Spite does come out for Zin, but not finding much. The crowd control coming out from Jetster, but now actually able to go off and get the kill before the Immortal through time and space. Oh, Poppy finds 2.
What an impulse out of the air had to be. Poppy slaying a double there with a huge blast shot. And that is what Dhiren did not want to see. He's the healer, and all of his teammates are dying too fast for them to get healed up. And now he's dying thanks to some healer v healer crime. Mumo with the Star Splitter, absolutely making use of that Deft Hands pickup.
Which is still interesting to hear you say out loud. But as we go forward, again, 35% is where it stopped for SpaceStation, and getting close to that is China Dream, but frzgod trying to put an end to that. He does go to the Dragon Punch, but he puts it right into the Immortal. I don't think he saw it.
Why'd he hit that? Maybe the sound cue wasn't there. Could have gone around the wall. Maybe he didn't pick up. The Immortal was an obvious tell, and he just goes in, and Fernando doesn't die, retains that 1,500 health threshold until it's over. Drogo's easy dragon bait there.
Panicked plays is what that comes down to. Kind of losing their focus, losing their control. You need to calm down if you're SpaceStation, but you also need to get the point. 93%, Inara is going to be able to touch and start to get some capture percentage back, but here comes Guagua.
Aggressive.
From the top rope, trying to jump in, but frzgod finds 2.
Wow, goes straight onto the objective, and I think that just buys a second where they're not ticking up with the comeback mechanic. That capturing faster is a very important thing, but frzgod from the skies is firing back down. Dhiren on the objective still. It's Ufo there, but he can buy so much time in the billow, and it's now a 1v1 Dragon versus man with flaming sword. I don't know, man. I think Dragon may win that one in real life, but man with flaming sword comes out on top here. And look at that, through time and space, starting the conversation again for China Dream. It looks like they may finish it off 99-99. It's overtime.
And that was a really good team bomb just to capitalize on that last kill needed. It's just RECHAO left on the point, and it looks like it's going to be China Dream pulling this one away if they can get this last kill. frzgod goes down again, and one more overtime seemed to have been toggled. Not enough to make a difference. China up 2 maps.
And now the crowd is really starting to wake up here, and people are realizing that China, that first game was not a fluke. They take it 2 in a row over the Brazilians. SpaceStation Gaming now, instead of talking, they get up out of their seats. This is a huddle.
Yeah, and man, if you're SpaceStation, there are a lot of small things that really went wrong, and they all happened in the same general region. It started with the draft. Again, I just don't understand why you're letting Guagua get this pick. He was so uncomfortable on just about everything yesterday. He's showing nothing but just security and sincerity playing this Bomb King. But again, Poppy is bringing another champion that we have not seen a lot of into possibly the viability charts.
And that's so interesting. I think people would still question whether Cassie really is viable here, but I mean, when you hit your shots, and he hits his shots, I think Cassie can be just as good as almost anybody else. It's a dangerous thing to play against. I don't think a lot of teams would be very comfortable playing Cassie right now. I don't think people have iterated with her. I don't think they've tried a lot of these builds. Despite how veterans they are, I think everyone just considered Cassie a dead character in this meta. But maybe that's not the case.
And we keep hearing from a lot of players that these Chinese players are so mechanically sound, and Cassie's definitely a champion that really shows you the true mechanics that these players are bringing in. Able to hit left click, disengage, left click midair, impulse after that. It's just a steady, constant flow of amazing burst damage, 79,000+ damage.
That's
and
incredible.
Then the 15, 6, and 10 is really big. You saw how Poppy was playing it. I got 1 kill. I'm going to dodge roll around a corner, find a second place that I can poke, dodge roll in. It's just really smart, fluid play, and it's making Cassie look like a lot of fun, to be honest.
Poppy's like, man, this is business as usual. I mean, I'm bored. I'm bored. Somebody keep up the competition here, because I think Poppy might be falling asleep. But you know what? That is seemingly like some of his reactions just without having to really concentrate and think too much. You could tell he's ingrained the style of play. And this is one of the things that actually Cassie, funny enough, in HRX 2017, we had Cassie from the Chinese team actually make a big impact and win a game for them on Jaguar Falls, I believe, against the Brazilian squad. And so important for having those little crutch pickups that are comfortable, especially when I felt like China have been going away from Drogos as an opportunity. And a lot of other regions are okay to pick that up as a secondary choice for when Bomb King's not available. Yeah,
but again, I think that if you're Space Station, you need to make sure Bomb King is not available right now for Guagua.
That's the big change?
It needs to be. It just flat out. I mean, this looks like a totally different team when they have Bomb King on their roster. And Guagua, again, had showed off how good he is, hitting those constant sticky bombs one after another 6 months ago. And it seems like that rust never actually built.
No, not at all. Space Station Gaming just continuing their conversation. Each team here has a certain amount of allotted time before they go into that next round. And they are pretty much using all of it for good reason. If they lose here, it is over for Brazil. A young, very talented squad. I've had the pleasure of casting every Friday in the Paladins Global Series. And a new addition, Aries, who is a very prominent player on other teams and had really caused problems for the core of the roster of RECHAO and Mittow and Z-Mash, is added here as an opportunity to maybe make a big statement here for Brazil. And they did yesterday, but now it looks like that could be coming to an end without a win here on Fish Market.
Got to reset. You got to come. You're going to Fish Market for map number 3. Allows you a lot of versatility with your choices as far as comps go. Buck obviously is a huge priority here, but it's not just Buck that can be impactful. We've seen EVs come out. We've seen long-range snipers being played here, Grovers being played here. There's a lot of options when it comes to your comps. And, you know, as you take a look at what China Dream has been able to do, it's been all aggression, 3 damage dealers, Xin that's been out of control. But I don't think it's the Xin that's the problem. It's got to be the Bomb King for me at this point in time. Yeah, you're going to give them the Xin again, and UFO's going to have a great game. But I don't think his max potential is as high as what we've seen currently from Guagua and Bomb King.
I mean, I think heading into that round that they just won, UFO was 0-3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. Now, he was having an impact, but 0-3 and still getting that W, you got to say that UFO has a lot more of an upside than that.
Oh, sure.
And I'm also trying to figure out is where's the consistency from him? Because when he shows up, China Dream dominating 4-0s.
Oh, yeah.
But when he's not showing up, I don't know where to place them on this tier. I think part of it is that we are witnessing what happens when you have 3 players who are new and 2 players who are adjusting to a roster, and that synergy not quite being there. But maybe this game is what will help them get that back.
And that's scary.
Scary.
If they go through this round and they meet up, you know, obviously in the next series of the losers bracket here against our last series of the losers bracket in Group B, the winner of that will take them on if they do win this game, or just one more map in general. They're going to have a lot of momentum going their way with something that clearly is starting to work. And again, we talked about UFO not having a great game last game, but he didn't have to have a great game. Poppy and Guagua just absolutely took it over. And you know, if you get to hang out and billow in, just kind of being annoying for a little bit, and then bounce right back out and let your teammates handle it, well, that's just the role you're filling that game.
That's why you know the draft didn't work out for them, because he didn't have to have a good game, and still they were able to dominate. This is the man I was talking about. Such a lighthearted, young, enthusiastic man from Brazil, Aries. Very, very talented guy. But right now, things haven't worked out for him, nor anyone on the side of Space Station Gaming, facing elimination on this final map, Fish Market. You just got to root for these guys, because you know they're absolutely trying their best and representing a region that has yet to really achieve that international acclaim quite yet, but we can all feel it coming. We all feel it coming for all these regions in the future. And the bans and picks will start. It is SSG, Space Station Gaming, with the first pick, first ban opportunity. You said it has to be the Bomb King.
Or you don't ban the Bomb King and you pick him first.
Well, yeah, because you have first pick now.
Yeah, so I think if you're SSG, your 2 choices for bans here are you either ban out the Torvald, so you dissuade the Buck for being as safe as he could be, or you ban the Bomb King. And that's going to force Dream to make a reactionary play. It will be the Bomb King taken away.
That's smart.
Yeah, and I like that too. It's just interesting because, again, we saw frzgod do so well against Fnatic playing Bomb King. You would think they would want that fire back on their side.
Guagua seems like he has maybe an option for that, and they do have the Buck. But this is the problem with that. The Torvald available now, so I don't know if you're ever getting Torvald Buck in this situation. And I think trying to Dream grab it And it would be the Genos, in my opinion, if things have gone the same way. I don't think they have to prioritize the blaster healers rising in priority. And it will be the Celestial, the Ascended, grabbed up.
I think we should give him a subtitle for the Celestial.
Celestial, Genos.
Talk last night.
The Celestial, the Ascended. The
Yes,
Ascended
sponsored by
Celestial.
the Celestial powers that be. Nando picked up with Talus, and that's a good start, I think, as far as frontline pressure. And again, you have a double flank situation coming for SSG that says nothing but aggression in my eyes. But again, Xin, very difficult to deal with as he's able to really dance it out pretty freely.
And here is the Lex back again. It feels like this is now the draft that we saw coming through yesterday that didn't quite work out. The heroism has brought tons of conversation and controversy to their performances yesterday because people just, I was talking with Bitey earlier saying, I think Death Hastens or Discovery would have performed better.
And especially when we did see him, we mentioned that the fact that there wasn't much for him to counteract for crowd control in the comps that he was playing up against. So, whoa, this is, again, another big roster coming out as Shaolin is the last overall selection. So some damage from afar, damage up close, and damage from all over the place if you're talking about the Xin for China Dream. But, you know, this is a setup for SpaceStation that they can react to this. The question becomes is, will they have the target prioritization to catch this Lex out, to catch that Xin out? Shaolin's going to be free for a while until they find a pick.
It's interesting. The shield from Fernando, very good against the Lex. If that's up, it could save lives.
Yeah.
The thing is, Inara also has that wall and has so much more staying power. Both Fernando and Ruckus not quite staying power front lines, more aggressive at this point in the meta. But it doesn't really matter because Torvald's not really a staying power front line either.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's got no mobility. And as you take a look at SpaceStation, you have Fernando, Ruckus.
A lot of
mobility. So if you're SpaceStation, your first move needs to be, I'm going right past the Torvald, looking for these low health pool flankers, and then turn back around for the Torvald. Because if he's isolated, none of these damage dealers can really help a Torvald if he's in trouble.
I mean, mobility is what I see across the board for SSG. They've got Buck and Ruckus who can get aerial mobility, which no one on the side of China Dream actually has on Fish Market, which has that second layer that is a great way to either initiate or de-initiate from somebody who is trying to chase you. It's the water, it's the fish. The market isn't open, but battle is due to happen any moment now as SpaceStation Gaming try to climb through a very desperate situation as China Dream had put them down 2-0, looking to make it 3 as Lex shows off the deltoids and rides into battle representing the Brazil nation as China faces off against Brazil.
There you go.
Don't know if it's taunt or respect.
There you go.
But heroism doesn't work.
That's exactly what you want. And keep this momentum moving. Don't even bother with the point. Get another kill. Genos is low. He's right here. The Guagua does take down Ares, but how did they not kill Genos yet? This is a mistake.
Guagua has 2, and I think they're just prioritizing the wrong target. And UFO now he's going to survive for so long. He uses all his cooldowns, but I think that's enough. Guagua picks up 3. And we wondered what he would do if the Bomb King wasn't available. Well, Shaolin seems to be working this time around.
Absolutely, it does. Aggressive Gourd being put out from the Maldama, but again, it's 30% is where it's stalled for SSG, up to above now 50 for China Dream, and they have a lot of left to right spread. But if you're SpaceStation, you group up, you do it again, and make sure you get the low HP targets.
And that's important. Poppy here now didn't really get a chance to play first round, and he may not get a chance again. This Heroism Lex is just not proven valuable for these guys. And it's either Poppy or Guagua or UFO who hasn't having a great game. But luckily, one of them is always having a spectacular game as a double, looking to maybe be a triple, forces out the Planet and Ares. Nice response back.
Fortunate for him, though, he was about to hit the Heat Haze, not able to get it off 99%, and nobody here from SpaceStation can really contest. Not able to jump back in was Mittow on the Buck, so it will be 1-0 for China after some great play from Guagua.
2 minutes, 20 seconds now. Paladins World Championship spray on the wall, letting them all know what they're fighting for as China look to keep the dream alive here. Ares chasing one down, and Mubo will fall to that. Guagua on the back line. Seems like nobody's been able to keep track of Shaolin, and that's because he can kind of go invisible, so it is hard to spot the guy, especially when he shoots you, and it's just not really a merciless shot that he gives you. Not a lot of reaction time there as you get stunned into a wall and taken down.
Oh, and he's got a nice backline pressure here. He's going to find more. That's Dhiren going down once again, looking for Fernando. He's trying to hide behind the shield, but it's just not enough. Poppy finds that kill. A little bit of a party that he was not invited to as 3 players from China able to take him down, and another pause coming out for SpaceStation. I feel like there was just so many missed opportunities in that first push from SpaceStation. They had the first blood quick. They needed to just continue that pressure, and just the Shaolin was just free on point, able to get damage. It's just incredible gameplay from Guagua, staying safe, able to help out with damage. It's just really good play.
I mean, RECHAO has been behind so many of these pauses. You kind of have to wonder. They're not supposed to be. There's no coach pausing in the game. It's not like basketball. Can't call a timeout. This means something technical has happened, but it's kind of weird that it just keeps happening either to him or it just keeps happening when it seems like SpaceStation Gaming are in a place where they'd want to call an actual timeout. Maybe using the rules to his favor there a little bit, but 1 minute and 30 seconds left. China Dream on the offense, already about 70% of the way through. They're about to get over this hill, which is the big choke point.
I was about to say, look where they've kept RECHAO this entire time. Buck has nowhere to jump. He's stuck in between these giant trees. A nice stun into RECHAO, looking to possibly finish that one off. UFO will claim that kill. Moving forward, trying to find Buck. Buck Wild was also used.
Shut down. That's a big withdraw shot as well, coming in from the stealth, and that's what Guagua is known for here, hitting the bows. Doesn't have the candy cane pain arrows, but he's got the superhero, the vigilante, and maybe he's a little bit of both here as he keeps China moving forward without slowing their pace whatsoever.
Oh, good Immortal, though. Buck was Void Grip trying to leap in. He will not be able to do so. There, Guagua finds the last shot and a double kill with the half draw on the bow.
Wow.
Welcome back, Guagua. You're looking good.
And I can just see the faces of people in the crowd. I can see the faces of some of our pros starting to turn a little bit, saying, is this really working? Or is SpaceStation Gaming playing badly? Is that, I mean, do we have to start worrying about a Shaolin Torvald situation? Which
Solo Torvald, by the way.
You do have to wonder, and that wasn't like SpaceStation Gaming didn't have a good start to that fight. They got the first blood.
Yeah, and they, again, here's the bad news. You're down itemization now. Flat out. Guagua's 13, 1 and 5. What does his damage? What do his numbers look like as far as damage? I mean, he's on a 12 streak. He's doing 42k damage, almost 20 more than his next closest ally, which is Xin. I mean,
that's nuts.
Wow.
That is nuts. If you got a peanut allergy, stay away from that one. Under 5 minutes gone, and Guagua here on a 12 streak. That one, you can't laugh in the middle of the gas, man. Heat haze coming through as well. Possible for Guagua, and he's going to hit the gas pedal and go in, starting to fire these arrows.
Yeah, and he's trying to find some kind of an angle, but this is actually good displacement from SpaceStation, backing right back up. Let that ultimate expire, but he falls right into a spite, and it's going to be Kami finding that last shot. So again, China Dream with the advantage in numbers and on the point, 27% and counting up.
And now one thing we haven't seen, Poppy, UFO, Guagua, all on streaks, looking to be above 10,
stuns.
And that is not a good sign for SpaceStation Gaming. That's not a good sign for any competitor. frzgod finally answers back, but is it a day late and $1 short? Because 78% and counting, China Dream already are fully supplanted on this objective.
Yeah, and this is not looking great, although there is a Hexafire there, but he does get ulted by the Genos, and Poppy cleans up too. And that might just be enough to distract SpaceStation and push them off, and it will be 3-0. China Dream looking for the sweep.
And this could be the end. China may be advancing into the next phase of this game, the phase of this tournament, with a win here over the Brazilians, who will be sent home if they lose for the 3rd time in a row in this matchup. And Poppy wants to do everything he can. This heroism less than 90% damage reduction when he slides, so he basically can't die while he's sliding. And he's also CC immune, so if you throw a stun out on him or a big ultimate, he can kind of slide right through it, but he sacrifices a lot of damage for that. Again, controversial, but has been working out in this game, and I think a lot of it's just because Guagua's relieving so much pressure.
And that's the story from last game as well. UFO's having himself a 12 streak. We barely even said his name. He tries to get the spite out. Not able to connect, though, as Dhiren's able to help out with that kill, and in pursuit is Poppy. Although he's actually retreating, but the ability in pursuit being used in that retreating fashion. 1:35 until overtime, and with the numbers game, SpaceStation finally starting to get aggressive on defense. And you got to be careful here with where that payload is, right around the corner from those apartments. If you get too aggressive, the next thing you know, if you get wiped, that payload's going to be in your base.
It's very, very close to being pushed. And if you have 10 seconds on the board right here, it's only going to take about 10 to get basically 90% of the way to push that objective. And right now, it's slowly moving in. It's contested here, but the poke war is going to go to Guagua because he can just surprise you with so much burst. He goes into the withdrawal. This is a burst shot right here. He's got to hit it. Big shot. What a target switch on a Mittow for the planet. 1,600 damage and about 4,000 coming out from him. RECHAO responds, but Poppy finds 2. Finally going down to RECHAO. But Guagua in the back line will keep RECHAO alive thanks to the Immortal. But it looks like UFO is still here, and it's a 1 1v1 between him and Buck.
Smart retreat, though. You have 40 seconds. You've got plenty of time to
No
get
need to
your
rush.
troops back. The thing is, you don't have any ultimates up for anybody at the moment, and really nothing is going to be online as this last potential push happens. So can China, again, find a way to get that mechanical gameplay where it needs to be, where Guagua is hitting these incredible stuns? You mentioned the target switching. If they can keep doing that, it's going to put SpaceStation in a tough spot.
RECHAO on a 4 streak, finally getting some rhythm going, and that is something that the Brazilians are known for. This isn't a flamenco, this is a dangerous dance. We call this sometimes the fish market flamenco, when you run around each other and try and do a double flank, but it hasn't worked out. So far, though, RECHAO is still feeling it, and he might be able to go ahead and help his team find the first point in a long time here.
Yeah, a very long time, and this looks pretty good as overtime is in effect. RECHAO is getting aggressive, finding himself a double kill, and Genos left to stellar wind away. So Brazil, maybe this is the start of some comeback mechanic here as they're faltering, but not yet totally fully out.
Some good stuff here as well coming through, and I think what's important is noticing that RECHAO kind of got going. I think they need a lot from him. The Buck was the first pick.
Yeah.
He's got to show up.
Exactly.
They don't have the Torvald with him. In fact, they've got the Torvald kind of hurting Buck on the other side and bubbling those who he is aggressing on, which can be very difficult to beat through. It's kind of, it is a little bit of a counter to
Yeah,
that.
it really is. And
Best friend, worst enemy.
if he has the ability to get in his face is, I think, the key to that situation. And that's going to be, again, what I want to see the SpaceStation team not back up, back off. I want them to get aggressive, find one angle that you can just absolutely just dagger your way through and try to split this China Dream team in half, if any possible way that could happen, whether it's just down the middle or if you split the back line from the front line. You need to find some way to get them out of their comfort zone and really exploit the fact that your front line has all this mobility.
Well, this would be the dream so far, if China could at least move over into the next round. It's pretty tense. We have so many representatives here from China, China Honor, China Dream, a lot of staff. Not a lot of smiles yesterday, but I bet a lot of them would be smiling ear to ear if this point goes the way of the Dream. We'll see if RECHAO has anything to say about that. Nice hat. At least the man is stylish. Can he be efficient?
He's going to find his way into the back line, and Talos is also here with him. Fernando's right to the left. They're able to, again, this is really good. They're able to push China Dream around the map, and it's right into a Hexafire. Mittow's able to find one kill and control the point. So that was successful. They only found one kill, but they got the map control, they got the point control, and they're able to get some rhythm going, like you mentioned. It's so important.
And Guagua still has not been found, and that is important. Through time and space, Mumo can't find anything there. Forces a lot of attention to the right side, and that is important. It pulls them away from the point, and now they are isolated. Hyper Beam! Ufo finds Dhiren, but the Hyper Beam will not find another. That may be important. He can't find him. RECHAO doesn't know. Guagua's right behind him. That could be a big one. And 3 kills come in quick succession. SpaceStation Gaming, they might have just lost right here.
Yeah, and it came off the back end of what was a really successful start, but then no focus past that. Guagua will he find the shot? What a cheeky play.
I think that's it.
That has to be, with no support coming through. It's 87% counting up. All of this dismounts coming through, 96%.
No wind up needed. China Dream. They will advance into the next round and finally find themselves with something to write home about. Might not be the fastest form of communication at this point, but
well,
they could just call. I don't know what they call it. Just call.
Message.
Yeah, instant message.
DM.
A lot of ways to do it. I don't know why they decided to write home.
Well, I mean, hey, it's formal. It presents you in a very respectful way, and I think, very personal way.
I think they are respectful, and you can see so respectful. They haven't even, no one stood up yet. Can't tell if this is shock, this is just elation in a way that we're not used to seeing here. But either way, SpaceStation Gaming will go home. The Brazilians, they did a great effort in this last one, but it just wasn't enough.
Props to Brazil. I mean, coming out against Fnatic, putting them to 3 games, and that last game going down to the wire. I mean, this is, again, a really good, promising start for Brazil. Again, we didn't see them in Valencia. They lost to Latin America in that South American battle, I guess, is the qualifier for that last spot in Valencia, showing up here at HRX, and really they have a lot to go home with that they can be happy about with their performance.
They sure do. And as you can see, there's still more to be played for the Chinese. 37 kills on that game, 55 assists, and obviously a lot of total damage there.
Surprising to see the healing numbers the way they turned out.
Not a lot of healing. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not taking as much damage, you're taking half the amount of
True.
damage, and you're only healing up half
heal?
the amount. And that is what we will see from China Dream as they progress into the next round. Of course, this has been an exciting matchup for us, and we're going to be making some way for some new casters, some new games coming through. Of course, we've still got to see a lot more action coming with, of course, those epic finals that are going to lead to our semifinals soon. It's going to be the Na'Vi and the obviously G2 facing off later on today, and then we'll see some of these final matchups from China Dream and everything coming up a little bit later. But it's just so much entertainment, I think, here. It's been hard to contain. Yesterday was so long. This is kind of going on a little bit quicker than yesterday for all of us.
And we've weeded out, now it's the 4 teams have gone. Now we're dealing with the top 8 overall in the world to battle out to see who might just be part of that top final 4, I guess we'll call it. And of course, we have the console finals later. We'll crown a champion tonight, and that's going to be a really good one. North America versus North America there. That's our last set tonight.
And remember, it is double elimination, and that's important to know. So if you have been rooting for a team and they haven't lost yet, they have to lose twice to be out of this thing. China, they've already lost once, but they get the win here. Brazil goes home. The dream continues. Desk, what do you have to say?
Wow, what a performance from China Dream. Did not expect that given what we saw yesterday. Welcome back, everyone, to the desk here as we break that game down. Golden Boy alongside with Bees and Gormizer. I mean, we all had SpaceStation Gaming taking this one based off of what we saw against Fnatic.
This is a brand new team.
They dismantled them.
That was the team everyone has been telling me about. That was the China team that I expected. That was the team, the way they played, that was what I thought was going to happen last night. And I'm wondering if it maybe was the fact that they were a little bit sleepy, because that was something, I mean, all of us were tired at that point. We came through it. They played like lights out. Like that was phenomenal.
You would think that it was the Torvald, but then it turned out to be the Bomb King. But then it turned out to be literally anything else. I mean, they ran Poppy ran a Cassie on Serpent Beach. You had Poppy running a Lex on Fish Market. Poppy was destroying. It didn't matter who he was playing as. He was dominating. What were your takeaways from that game?
Well, this is exactly what I said that I wanted to see come out of this team. I wanted them to show us that really going to be just one little strat that they have these roster changes, roster adjustments. They have the ability to take out so many different champions in their pool, and they're still, no matter what they're taking, they're dominating, and they're looking scary.
So okay, so we're hyping them up quite a bit here. Is it a matter of them performing so well, or give me I guess a theory craft here? Would SpaceStation Gaming have beaten Fnatic had they gone on? Like, are we putting them on that same tier that we can comfortably say that this wasn't a fluke? China Dream can beat Fnatic going into this next round.
Given how well SpaceStation did against Fnatic, I would say definitely. Personally, I hate to say it because they're my friends, but boy, if I was Fnatic, I'd be a little bit shaky right now.
Yeah. It's just one of those. It's a scenario because we don't know. Like maybe it was something off for SpaceStation here, or was that giving their all? I assume they were giving their all because this was an elimination match. You're not giving your all, you're going home for nothing. And being able to go forward, you're looking at a rematch for it, but it's just another step in the machine to get to the finals. And right now, you see China Dream coming in and like they just sweep. Like they didn't look like they were even breaking a sweat the way they played that one. I agree with you. If I was Fnatic, I'd be a little frightened right now.
The synergy is just phenomenal. Absolutely. As you've seen the way they flick between shots, they even left targets on 1 HP knowing their teammates were going to clean up, moving on to the next target straight away, which is just phenomenal synergy for a team that has 2 people from a separate team. Really good job.
I mean, this, yesterday it could have been a matter of, well, Na'Vi is a fantastic team, but was it about China Dream just not feeling up to snuff there? We take a look at the schedule there and recap you as far as what happened. Yesterday we had that not as sincere game against China Dream, ended 3-1, and the one game that China Dream did win, I mean, they won it, and they looked really good doing it. Remember that Poppy Strix play, that was absolutely insane. Na'Vi will face off against G2 Esports later on, but the matchup that everyone is looking out for, can they do it again? China Dream versus Fnatic. I believe that match will take place tomorrow, so we'll have a little bit of time to digest everything and I guess get used to what we're going to see for tomorrow, because this match is going to be awesome. The next match, though, is Virtus Pro going up against Ninjas in Pajamas, a matchup that I am really excited to see. All these games at this point, because it's anyone's game at this moment. Anyone can walk away the Paladins world champion. For now, though, let's send it over to Pretty Hair over at the stage. He's going to have the one and only Poppy.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. Welcome back to the stage here. Poppy, Poppy, Poppy. I'm standing here with the man himself from China Dream. And first off, man, I just want to get your thoughts. Were you expecting to win like that?
Poppy, 你有想过这场比赛会赢吗？
有，我们一直对自己的比赛充满信心。
Yes, we are so confident of ourselves.
How are you feeling about your chances against Fnatic in the next round?
下一站对战 Fnatic， 你怎么看待自己的机会？
尽管对手非常强大，但我们一定会拿出自己的全部的实力来应战 Fnatic。
We know that Fnatic is very great, but we will try our best to fight against Fnatic.
How much stronger do you think you would have really been with your full starting roster?
Sorry.
Do you think you would play better if you had all 5 of your teammates here?
Thank you. 你觉得如果你们战队的队员可以这次全部都来的话，你觉得你们能打得多好？
我觉得我们能进决赛。
We think we can make it to the final.
Do you think you can win the final?
你觉得你能拿冠军吗
应该能吧。
？Yes, we can.
Fighting words here on the stage from Mr. Poppy, quickly becoming a fan favorite from what I'm hearing from the crowd. Thank you guys so much. We're going to throw it to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more PWC.
No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me?